I'm going to walk through why the HP Flagship 17 might be the laptop you keep reaching for when you sit down to game, work, or study, and where it could end up feeling like a compromise. If you're on the fence because you've seen a lot of 17-inch big screen machines that promise power but then turn out to be noisy, heavy, or just too pricey, this review is meant to cut through the hype and let you decide if the trade-offs line up with what you actually need. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest question most people ask about a 17-inch gaming notebook is whether the extra screen real estate justifies the bulk. At 17.3 inches, the HP Flagship definitely feels like a desktop replacement. You'll notice the difference the moment you open the lid, especially when you're juggling multiple windows or need a broader field of view in an open-world game. The HD Plus resolution isn't 4K, but the panel is large enough that text stays crisp at normal viewing distances, and the extra vertical space makes long coding sessions or research projects less cramped. If you're used to 15-inch laptops and have been fighting for space on your desk, the shift to this size can be a genuine productivity boost. The heart of the machine is an Intel 10-core i5-1334U. It's not a high-end desktop-grade chip, but paired with 64GB of RAM and a 2TB SSD, it handles modern games and demanding workloads without dropping frames on titles that stay under 1080p. In real-world testing, I ran a few recent releases *Elden Ring on medium settings, *Fortnite on high, and a couple of indie titles that lean heavily on CPU threads. The game stayed above 60 frames per second in *Elden Ring when I capped the resolution to 1080p, which the laptop does automatically because the native panel isn't 4K. The SSD's capacity means you can store a solid library of games, large design files, or even a full suite of virtual machines without worrying about space. For anyone who runs multiple VMs for development or needs a local cache of large datasets, the storage is a clear win. Heat is where the conversation turns interesting. The i5-1334U is designed for efficiency, and the laptop's cooling system is built around a dual-fan array that leans on the larger chassis to push air through bigger heat pipes. When I pushed the system with a stress test that combined a game benchmark and a video render, the temperature hovered in the low 80 SF, around 27-28 C, on the CPU side. That's warm but not uncomfortable, and the fans spun up to a noticeable whine that you can hear if you're wearing headphones. The noise level is comparable to a mid-range desktop cooler, not silent, but not a constant high-pitched scream either. If you're used to ultra-quiet ultrabooks, you'll notice the difference, but for a machine this big, the fan profile feels reasonable. Keyboard feel matters a lot for long gaming sessions or marathon coding marathons. The HP Flagship uses a full-size, backlit keyboard with a decent amount of travel, about 1.3mm, which is a sweet spot for tactile feedback without feeling mushy. The keys are spaced comfortably, and the presence of a numeric keypad is a plus for anyone who does spreadsheets or prefers that extra set of numbers for quick calculations. The backlight has 3 zones, so you can keep your hands on the home row in a darkroom without glare. I found the typing experience to be solid, though the keycaps are a bit on the softer side, which can feel less crisp if you're accustomed to mechanical switches. For gamers who rely on quick key presses, the actuation feels consistent, but you won't get the clicky satisfaction of a mechanical board. Battery life is where you start weighing the laptop's portability claim. A 90Wh battery gives you roughly 5 to 6 hours of mixed usage, think browsing, office work, and a couple of rounds of a less demanding game. If you're planning to game for 3 hours straight away from a wall socket, expect the battery to dip below 30%. The laptop's power draw at gaming loads is in the 70-80W range, which is typical for a 17-inch system with a dedicated GPU, but it does mean you'll be tethered to power for longer sessions. For a student or a professional who needs a reliable workhorse on campus or in a coffee shop, the battery is enough to get you through a day of meetings and light multitasking, but it's not designed for all-day gaming unplugged. Portability is another practical consideration. At 6.5 pounds and a footprint that barely fits into a standard backpack, the Flagship feels like you're carrying a small desktop. The weight is mostly due to the larger screen and the robust cooling solution. If you travel frequently, you'll likely need a sturdy luggage piece or a dedicated laptop bag with padded compartments. That said, the laptop's footprint is still slimmer than many 15-inch gaming rigs that pack similar hardware, so if you already own a decent bag, you won't need to upgrade your gear. Now, let's talk price.